Back to the Mighty Blues. My name is, of course, Cameron, and welcome back today to another live stream. As you can see, a massive grin on my face. It is the live game review to Everton's 1-0 win over Tottenham Hotspur on the opening day of the Premier League season yesterday. An absolutely fantastic win for Everton Football Club. You know, we haven't won away at a so-called top six side. I know it's not the top six and it's what Sky like to call them, but you know what I mean. Since December 2013, we haven't beaten Spurs away from home or at all, I think, in something like 11 or 12 years. And in Carlo Ancelotti's first full season as the Everton manager, we go out first game, bish bash bosh, showed them how to play footy and just absolutely played them off the park. It was such a fantastic performance yesterday, and so different to some of the performances we seen towards the back end of last season. We were absolutely fantastic. It was a breath of fresh air, wasn't it? It really was. From the new signings, all three starting and playing nearly enough 90 minutes, all three of them. Abdoulaye Doucouré and Allen playing the entire game, and James Rodriguez falling short by only a couple of minutes, and all three of them were absolutely unbelievable, considering Allen and James Rodriguez haven't played in the Premier League before, and that was their Premier League debut. Not just their debut at a new club, not just their debut in a new country, a debut in a new league, a completely new league with, you know, different style of play and different pace, and they were absolutely fantastic. You know, Abdoulaye Doucouré only signed for the football club, 6 days ago. He only signed on Tuesday, and he turned up yesterday and put in that performance. He was absolutely brilliant. He really was, and we were just fantastic across the entire game. We dominated the game from start to finish. Our midfield was brilliant. There was a presence for the first time in a long time. Everton Football Club had a presence in the middle of the park. We had Abdoulaye Doucouré, who wasn't letting anything getting past him. He was big, he was physical, he was winning every header, he was nicking the ball off the opposition, he was getting there, he was making last ditch tackles. We had Allen, who was throwing the slide tackles in when he needed to be put in there, throwing his body in the way, getting himself involved, making himself known. And we had James Rodriguez in the middle of the park, who was just absolutely dictating the play. Any football fan that sits there and tells you that, oh, James Rodriguez hasn't been good since 2014, or he won't be able to do it in the Premier League, utter bollocks. The fella was absolutely sublime yesterday. I mean, don't get me wrong, Allen and Abdoulaye Doucouré and the entire Everton squad, by the way, not just the three new signings, every single player that put an Everton shirt on. Calvert-Lewin, Richarlison was unbelievable. Even though he didn't get on the score sheet, he still had a fantastic game. His efforts were fantastic. Jordan Pickford had a brilliant game, but those three debutants, considering it was their first game in an Everton shirt, and not only that, considering that they all hadn't been at Everton Football Club for a week. You know, Allen was announced on Saturday, so we'd been there for 8 days, first game in an Everton shirt. James Rodriguez has been here a week today, so we'd only been there 6 days. You know, Abdoulaye Doucouré 5 days, and they all put in that type of performance yesterday. It was absolutely fantastic. It really was. Like I said, James Rodriguez absolutely running the show in that midfield. His first touch is godly. It's absolutely godly. His ability on the ball, his calmness, his ability to just take the ball down, drag it back, beat a man, get into a right position, pass it off, come back, get down the wing, pass it again, play a nice through ball through. He was just a level above anybody on the pitch, technical wise, and the rest of the squad were just much better than Spurs were in terms of effort and determination and wanting to win that game. And we were brilliant. We were absolutely brilliant. We were much the better side. Don't get me wrong, as much as the pundits and all of that will tell you how poor Spurs were and how, bad they were and how it was an easy win for Everton. Bollocks. We were absolutely fantastic yesterday. We were brilliant. We played them off the park, away from home, against the side who 7 or 8 weeks ago we went to, and we looked sheepish, we looked scared, we looked like we didn't want to put a foot in, we looked like we didn't want to upset them. We looked like we didn't want to press. We looked like we weren't interested. We come, 7, 8 weeks later with the addition of 3 new signings, and we're a totally different animal. We were a totally different team yesterday. That was a very tough game to start the season, with away to a side that are going to be fighting for Europe this season, away to a side who, again, very much like Everton, have got a serial winner as their manager, a manager that knows how to win things, a manager that's been there, a manager that's done it. They've got some real quality, Harry Kane, Son, Lucas Moura, Dele Alli, some real quality in that team, and we just absolutely nullified each and every single player and made them look like they didn't have anything. Matt Doherty made his Spurs debut yesterday, and he was absolutely fantastic for Wolves last season, and has been absolutely fantastic for pretty much his entire Wolves career, and we made them look bang average yesterday. We made them look quite poor, to be perfectly honest with you. Pierre-Emile Højbjerg, what a bullet we've dodged with him. He was absolutely atrocious, but that is testament to how well Everton played. Everton stepped up, and for the first time in a long time against one of these, I don't like calling them top 6 clubs because Spurs aren't a top 6 club. They didn't finish in the top 6, I don't think, last season. Neither did Arsenal, but you know what I mean. These big Sky clubs who Sky like to tout as challenging for the title every year, that was the first time in a long time that Everton have turned up away to one of those teams and put in an absolutely unbelievable performance and just dominated them off the park. And not only is that a massive win because it's the first game of the season, and it's a massive win momentum wise and for building the confidence going into next week against West Brom, and even midweek on Wednesday against Salford, but it's also a massive win mentality wise in getting over that mentality block. We spoke when we played Spurs towards the back end of last season as to how poor they were, and we just looked like we wanted to match how poor they were, and in fact we wanted to be worse than them. And we spoke about how if we'd have turned up on that day, we could have quite easily beaten Tottenham Hotspur, but it seemed like there was some form of mentality block that made the players not want to turn up, and that made the players not want to get in there and win the game, whereas yesterday we didn't look fazed by who we were playing, and that is such... it's such a fantastic thing to see, and it's so refreshing looking at an Everton team going to a side that are touted to be fighting for Europe, going to a side that before the season were touted to, even potentially challenging for the league. I heard some pundits saying it's so refreshing to see Everton go away to sides like that first game of the season, turn up and just absolutely blather them off the park and convincingly beat them. We convincingly beat Spurs yesterday. We dominated the midfield battle. We had multiple opportunities, many of opportunities. In fact, if Richarlison had the shooting boots on and had one of his better games, we'd have been 3 or 4-0 up. We'd have won that game comfortably. We'd have walked away with that game, but we didn't again. We'll talk about Richarlison a little bit later on because he was absolutely phenomenal in the game in terms of his effort and his work rate. Yes, okay, it didn't fall to him in terms of goals and opportunities, but his work rate was absolutely phenomenal. And like I said, we had the opportunities, and okay, we could have been done with being a little bit more clinical going forward, but we just battled so much in that centre midfield, and we just controlled the game. And that's what happens when you've got a controlling and a demanding centre midfield, by the way. That's what happens when you bring in one player who throws challenges in and gets about the pitch, but is also very, very good on the ball and can pass a ball and can play it, but isn't afraid to throw himself in the way. One player that's very, very dominant, big, strong, bulldozers his way through players, very, very good on the ball, again, technically good, throws himself into latch-stitch tackles, and one player who is technically absolutely levels above anybody else on the field with him. You get that type of performance. You get a performance which you're creating opportunities constantly, and defensively there's not really much worry. Michael Keane's had an interview today with Everton's official social medias, and he's come out and said Alan is an absolute dream for the defender. He is a dream midfielder to have as a defender because he almost feels like another defender. He works that hard. Abdoulaye Doucouré, I'm sure you all seen his latch-stitch tackle yesterday to deny Tottenham Hotspur a one-on-one opportunity at a vital point in the game, 55 minutes into the game, 0-0. Again, it just come out for the second half. It was quite even at that point. And, they're going 2-on-1 with Jordan Pickford. If Abdoulaye Doucouré doesn't make that challenge, but he does. And it's an absolutely unbelievable latch-stitch tackle. James Rodriguez, how fantastic was he yesterday? That's what happens when you bring in midfield players who not only can play football, but are willing to run around and put in 110%. And they also up the performance of everybody else around them. Andre Gomes started the game yesterday and played really, really well. He looked more confident. He was pressing high up the pitch on the ball. He looked good. He was getting it. He was playing it out. He was using his body well. He was winning fouls. Gylfi Sigurdsson come off the bench and even looked decent. He was throwing himself involved. He was putting tackles in. He looked a lot better than he has done in any game last season, in fact, and that was in the first game of the season. So when you bring in these players with quality and with ability and with heart and with intensity, exactly what we need, that doesn't only improve the squad massively because we didn't have that before those players, but it also ups the performances of the players around them. And that's exactly what happened yesterday, and we were fantastic. We were absolutely fantastic. Like I said, on another day, it could have been 3 or 4-0. It could have been 3 or 4-0 in the first half on another day. Just unfortunate for us. Richarlison couldn't quite get fired, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin had a couple where bounced off the back of his heel, or he didn't quite get in the right position, but we were fantastic. We really, really were. We will get into the live comments in just a moment. I want to talk about the 3 signings as well as, of course, everybody else, because it's important that we don't just sit here and talk for an hour about how fantastic Abdoulaye Doucouré, Allen and James Rodriguez were, which they were yesterday. They were unbelievable, and don't get me wrong, the majority of this season team is probably going to be spent talking about those three players, because the difference in performance with those three players in the team than without those three players is absolutely light years. But it's important we talk about the other players as well. Your Dominic Calvert-Lewin, brilliant yesterday, another absolutely world-class finish. Luca Dean, another world-class cross for the finish. Richarlison, like I said, put himself around. Okay, didn't get on the score sheet, but his work rate was absolutely immense. 21 out of 24 duels won. I think he won all of his aerial duels, 5 shots on target, 10 successful dribbles, 6 fouls, won the foul for the free kick, which ultimately ended in the goal. He was brilliant yesterday. Jordan Pickford come under a lot of stick recently from Evertonians, and rightly so, absolutely rightly so. His performances had not been good enough last season. There was no consistency there. Yesterday he was perfect. You cannot fault Jordan Pickford yesterday. He didn't put a foot wrong. He was coming out, he was commanding his area, he was big, he was physical, he was getting down, he made some fantastic saves as well. He was brilliant. He was absolutely brilliant, as with the rest of the team. Like I said, Seamus Coleman for me put in a performance. I said it in the instant match reaction, where if it wasn't for the 3 new signings playing so well, and if it wasn't for, Richarlison having such a great game and Dominic Calvert-Lewin's header, Seamus Coleman was very much in contention for man of the match yesterday. He was fantastic. He was absolutely fantastic. He was getting in and around Tottenham. He was nicking the ball off them. He was making last-ditch tackles. He absolutely consoled that wing, even though he was playing against a tough opponent in Son, who was getting down. He was using his pace. He was using his energy. He consoled them. He consoled them all game, and we were absolutely fantastic. And we will get into the live comments shortly. I've just noticed there's been a donation already. Stewie has donated £2. He says, "All right, Cam, thank you very much, Stewie. Really, really do appreciate it. I'm not too bad, mate. I'm absolutely fantastic. In fact, I hope you are well yourself." Like you said, we will get into the live comments and get involved with what everybody is saying. Let me know your thoughts on yesterday's game, of course. If you're enjoying the live stream, by the way, please do hit the like button. If you're new to the channel, we got a load of new subscribers off the back of yesterday's instant match reaction and player ratings. I just want to say a massive thank you for subscribing. A massive welcome to the channel. We're live streaming 3 or 4 times a week. We're doing content near enough every day, every other day. And of course, we're covering all of the games. So big thanks for subscribing. Thanks for joining us. If you're here live, please do drop a comment. Love to hear what you've got to say. Leave the video a like. Share the stream. Let's get as many people in here as possible. Let's try and get to 100 concurrent viewers. Currently on 68. So massive thanks for all the support. But yeah, from the start yesterday, we just looked fantastic. Like I said, first win against one of those top 6 oppositions since we beat Manchester United in 2013 in December. We haven't beat Spurs for something like 8 or 9 years. We haven't beat Spurs away from home in something like 11, 12 years. So it was a massive win for the football club, not only for a good start to the season and not only to keep the momentum going and to keep the positivity going, but it was a massive win in terms of the football club and getting over that block and getting over that sort of burden of not being able to go to these sides and perform. And it was a fantastic performance. Like I said, a really tough game to start the season with, but Carlo Ancelotti got it absolutely spot on. Obviously, Carlo Ancelotti starting all 3 new signings, giving the debuts to Alan, James Rodriguez and Abdoulaye Doucouré, which I'm not going to lie, I didn't expect. We done the game preview on Friday night, of course, on the live stream, and I expected Alan to start with the potential of maybe Abdoulaye Doucouré, but I did not expect all 3 to start. All 3 started and they were brilliant. They fit in as if they've been playing for Everton Football Club for years, absolute years. If you'd have been an outsider watching in and you wouldn't have known too much about football and transfers and you'd have looked at that Everton side, there's absolutely no way you could have said, yeah, you can tell that's Alan's first game in an Everton shirt, you can tell that's Abdoulaye Doucouré's first game, you can tell that's James' first game. No way whatsoever. Those 3 players look like they've been playing for Everton Football Club for absolute years, and that's what having a manager like Carlo Ancelotti, who puts the faith in those players and starts them straight away and says to them, no, you're fit, you're ready, you're good enough. Carlo Ancelotti had an interview after the game and he was asked about, is he worried about James Rodriguez? He was asked 2 things actually, and I'm going to mention them both now because I think they're both fantastic points. He was asked firstly, are you worried about James Rodriguez specifically sort of adapting to life in the Premier League and how long it's going to take him to adapt? And he said no, he's still playing the same sport, he's still playing football, we're not playing a different sport, it's the same pitch, it's the same size pitch, it's 2 goals. The goal is to score more goals than your opponent at the end of the game. So I'm not worried about how long it'll take him to adapt because he's still playing the same game as that he was playing at Real Madrid, he's still playing the same sport as that he was playing at Bayern Munich. And he was also asked if he was worried about James Rodriguez's pace in the Premier League and maybe because he's not the fastest player, and he simply come out with the answer of, listen, if I was worried about pace and physicality, I'd have signed Usain Bolt. And I thought that was a fantastic answer by Carlo Ancelotti, turning around to the media and going, listen, you haven't got a fucking clue what you're talking about. You've just watched that Everton team and that Everton midfield, which included James Rodriguez, absolutely dominate a side that you all said was in contention for finishing in the Champions League last season. So don't now come at me and say you're worried about this or you're worried about that. watch the performance you've just seen there and look how well they played. And they did. They were, like I said, they were absolutely fantastic. First off, Ancelotti starting with the new three midfielders. James Rodriguez playing on one of the wing positions with Richarlison playing on the other. Sort of a 4-3-3 formation. Alan Gomez and Decore in the middle. Richarlison, James and Dominic Calvert-Lewin, up front. Obviously the back four of Luca Dean, Seamus Coleman, Yerry Mina and Michael Keane, with the absence of Mason Holgate and then Jordan Pickford in goal. And I thought we were brilliant from the off. We looked confident, we looked calm, we looked controlling, we didn't look like we were panicking, we didn't look fearful, and that's what I saw from the first opening 5 or 10 minutes of the game, is that we weren't creating a massive amount of opportunities, and we weren't banging it at Tottenham or pegging it down the field or putting relentless amounts of pressure on them, but we just looked comfortable, we just looked confident. They couldn't get anywhere near the ball. Every time they got the ball, either give it away or give it back to us, and we were just passing it round nicely, trying to look for a break, through ball, over the top ball, didn't work, get it back, passing it back. Decore was vital in that, Alan was vital in that, James was using his feet really, really well, looking for those long through balls. Richarlison was making the runs, picking up the fouls, winning, fouls in good positions. Dominic Calvert-Lewin was making those runs. Andre Gomez was coming, picking the ball up. We just looked comfortable. We looked assured. And as Evertonians, I'm sure, the 74 people currently watching, I'm sure 99, if not 100% of us can contest that we don't see that often with Everton Football Club, where we just look calm and collected on the ball, let alone against the side like Tottenham Hotspur away from home. We just looked cool, and I sat back after sort of 10 or 15 minutes, and the nerves of the opening game of the season and, us wanting so desperately to get something out of the game, they sort of died down a little bit, and I was just sitting there thinking, this is quite easy, this. Tottenham aren't really putting any relentless pressure on us. Yes, they had a couple of opportunities in that first half, but Tottenham are always going to have opportunities because they're a very good counter-attacking side with a lot of quality. So they're always going to have opportunities. Just notice a couple of comments in the comments. Like I said, we will get into them. Whammy has donated £5 to the live stream. Thank you very much. Really, really do appreciate it. He says, there you go, Cam, lad. Get yourself a nice cold pint of Ribena. Thank you very much, Whammy. Really do appreciate it. Eddie says, James the best. He certainly is. Eddie, welcome along. Thank you very much for joining us. Juan David Morena Santa says, greetings from Colombia. Excellent game from all the team. Thank you very much, mate. Really, really do appreciate it. Welcome to the Everton family. Welcome to the Blue family. We will get back into the live comments. Whammy also said, hit the like, guys. Support the Mighty Blues. Thank you very much. If you could hit the like, it'd mean a massive amount to me. Abigail says, all the new signings really impressed me, but Gomez did look like the player he was with Garner next to him. Actually, I think he was better. Me too. I think he was brilliant. I think he was absolutely brilliant. Abigail also says, welcome to the Blue family. Juan, yes, welcome, of course, Juan. Reece says, thoughts on Nikola Vlasic? I'd bring him back personally. Not for me. I understand, but not for me. James says, not the FA Cup, you don't anymore. Ian says, hey, Carlo Italiano. James says, going for the FA Cup will hinder the league, but will be great. I'm not saying it won't. Carlo will know what to do up the fucking toffee. Spot on. Eddie says, I'm an Everton fan from Colombia. Thank you very much, Eddie. Welcome to the Everton family. Really, really do appreciate that, mate. Really do appreciate you coming along. Hope you enjoyed the performance yesterday. How good was James yesterday? And Keeper Boy says, so, but we'll get involved with all of the rest of the live comments. Don't worry, I haven't just left them. I will get involved in just a moment. But like I said, Spurs are a side that are always going to have chances. They're always going to have opportunities. They're always going to put pressure on you. And they did yesterday. They had, a couple of over-the-top balls, which caught us a little bit to surprise. And they got involved. And, that was where Jordan Pickford was absolutely vital yesterday. But other than those, couple of opportunities and in the first half, we were controlling the game. We were dominant. We looked calm. We looked really, really confident in possession. And like I said, Spurs had a couple of one-off chances where they broke and they hit the ball fast. But other than that, it was all Everton for pretty much the entire first half. We had the opportunities, we had the chances. Richarlison having a really, really good chance early on, which come from a fantastic bit of play by James Rodriguez. By the way, he dinks it over a Spurs player. I can't remember which Spurs player it was, but he dinks it over the top of him, and he done it twice in this game. That was one of them. Dinked it right over the top of him and just embarrassed him. And then the ball ends up running free, and Richarlison gets on the end of it. Absolutely outpaces. I think it's Ben Davies or it might be Doherty on that full-back side. Absolutely outpaces him. Gets one-on-one with the goalkeeper. Takes it round him, and it's just too much of a heavy touch to take it round him, and ultimately he ends up sort of losing his balance and falling on his arse. And I think in that situation, a lot of Evertonians were a little bit unhappy with Richarlison in that situation, and that's understandable because it was 0-0. It was very early on in the game, and it was a big opportunity, a big opportunity for us to go 1-0 up in a very, very important game. And Richarlison sort of scoofs it a little bit, and again, Like I said, I understand that a lot of Evertonians were frustrated with that. For me, it's fantastic play by Richarlison in the first place to nick it past the defender. It's just his touch that takes him past the goalkeeper. It's just a little bit too heavy, and ultimately that puts him in a situation where he is off balance and he's got to make a rash decision. Yes, in hindsight, you're looking at it thinking if he squares to Dominic Calvert-Lewin with 1-0 up and the game becomes a lot easier. But I said this on Twitter yesterday, I believe, and I think I said it in the instant match reaction. I say it every time Richarlison has one of these games where he has 5 or 6 or 7 opportunities on goal, but he doesn't score, and there's always a better, there's often a better sort of option for him. Listen, this is fantastic when we're winning games, and you sit here and you say, well, it doesn't matter because we won, and it shows Richarlison's hungry. If we'd have lost that game yesterday, and if we'd have drawn that game yesterday, then you probably are sitting there saying he should have squared it. It's the better chance. It's the better opportunity for the team to score. He should have squared it to Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Ultimately, we won the game, and it doesn't make much of a difference. But I have no real issue with Richarlison wanting to score goals. I have no real issue with Richarlison getting the ball on the edge of the box and shooting every time he gets it, because I know that 7, 8, even 9 times out of 10. On the right day, that ball goes into the bottom corner, or that ball goes into the top corner, and Richarlison scores. Didn't have his greatest game in terms of end product yesterday. He was fantastic in terms of work rate. He was absolutely exceptional. But in terms of end product, he'll tell you himself, he didn't have his greatest of game. But I have no problem with Richarlison being persistent in trying to score and getting the ball in those areas and trying to curl it around the goalkeeper. Because next week against West Brom, or in 2 weeks' time against Palace or Brighton, or in even 2 or 3 months' time, he'll have a game like that and he'll score 2 or 3 of them, and he'll be man of the match by a country mile. So I have no issue. Yes, I understand the frustration that he should have squared it to Dominic Calvert-Lewin, but I have no massive issue with him attempting the shot from there. Yes, like I said, at the time it would have been a better option to pass it, but ultimately we won the game. And I understand why Richarlison went for the shot, because he rounded the keeper. A fantastic bit of play to take it past the defender, and he wanted the big sort of finale to the goal, which would have been a fantastic goal. He didn't get it. Ultimately, he missed it, and there was better options there. Fine. But Richarlison had another 3 or 4 opportunities in the game in really good positions, which he shot, and he looked frustrated with himself. He did look frustrated with himself, and again, that isn't necessarily a negative. If you've got a striker who is walking off the pitch, happy that we've won the game, but frustrated that he didn't get on the score sheet after having 2 or 3 good opportunities, how can we be frustrated with that? Seriously? How as a fan base? We'll read Richarlison's stats now while we're at it. Richarlison yesterday, 21 out of 24 duels won. I think he won all of his aerial duels. Those are duels altogether. 5 shots. I think about 3 or 4 of them were on target. Won 6 fouls, like I mentioned before. One of them being the foul that ultimately led to us winning the free kick, which the goal came from. 10 out of 10 successful dribbles. How can you possibly be frustrated as a fan with a player who puts in that much effort, who is given 110, 150% every single week? Yes, he had a couple of opportunities that he probably would have been better squaring or passing off to somebody else because they were in a better position. But he shows he's hungry. He shows his want to score, his want to get on the score sheet, his want to be involved in the game and play his part in Everton winning. And I have no issue with that. No issue with that whatsoever. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. I really, really did. I thought he was brilliant yesterday. And again, his work rate is unmatchable by a lot of players. And okay, every single Everton player put in 110% yesterday and they were brilliant. But Richarlison seems to just be a level above everybody in terms of his want to win the ball and his want to get at players, and he was brilliant. He was brilliant yesterday. I refuse to sit here and say, he missed an open goal or he missed a couple of clear-cut opportunities, so he didn't have a good game. He was brilliant yesterday. His efforts were fantastic. Yes, it wasn't his best game in an Everton shirt. I'm not going to sit here and say he's perfect. He wasn't perfect. He should have scored or at least passed the opportunity at the start of the game, and he probably should have buried a couple more of the other opportunities he's had. But his work rate and his willingness to get on the score sheet, you just cannot knock whatsoever. I thought he was fantastic yesterday. But anyway, Richarlison had that opportunity, and look, at the time, you're sort of thinking you should have passed that. You should have made... a little bit of a side throat. You should have made better than that opportunity. All of a sudden we score that, we go 1-0 up, the game becomes an awful lot easier. He doesn't. We continue to sort of create opportunities. Like I said, Spurs had a couple. One opportunity where Son put a really, really dangerous ball in across the box. It just sort of filtered out. Harry Kane couldn't get on the end of it. Obviously they had the Matt Doherty chance where Matt Doherty had a shot from wide and Jordan Pickford made a fantastic save. But ultimately we weren't under any real pressure. The midfield were just completely dominant. We dominated the game, and other than that, long ball from Spurs and that counter-attack, which we were called on a couple of times, they had no real opportunity in the game. They had 2 big chances. The Dele Alli one, which was I actually think quite a routine save for Jordan Pickford. It's a fantastic save, don't get me wrong, but I actually think it's more of a routine save than a lot of people were making out yesterday. And the Matt Doherty save, which was absolutely fantastic. It was world class. But we're going in at half time, and there's a lot of positivity. There's a lot to take from that first half. We were very, very good. The midfield, dominant, very, very strong. Like I said, Abdoulaye Doucouré, Alan, James Rodriguez, all absolutely brilliant. There's a lot to take from that. We're coming out in the second half, and all of a sudden, the positivity is oozing out of the team, absolutely oozing. And we're sitting there as fans and saying, we've got a real opportunity of going on and winning this game. Spurs look very similar to they did at the back end of last season. Not many ideas, not really looking threatening, just look a little bit like they don't want to be in the game. But whereas we looked very similar to that, at the back end of last season, this time out we looked like we wanted to win the game. We looked like we had that bit of grit, had that bit of passion, had that bit of fight, had that bit of want to win. And that was because of the 3 players that had come into the squad. Ultimately, I'd brought that because of their quality and, made the rest of the team step up a level. So we go in at half time, and like I said, the stats for some of the players. Alan, yesterday, the entire game, 46 out of 55 passes completed, 4 tackles, 2 interceptions, 3 clearances. Absolutely brilliant. Got man of the match on Sky Sports, I believe. James Rodriguez was created most chances created in a Premier League debut since Alexis Sanchez's Premier League debut at Arsenal in 2014. Most chances created than an Everton player in a single game since Gylfi Sigurdsson in 2018 against Southampton. So that's 2 years almost since an Everton player has created the same amount of chances as James Rodriguez did in his debut. It's been 6 years since a Premier League player has created as many chances as James Rodriguez did in his debut. You could see Abdoulaye Doucouré, again, I haven't got the official stats for Abdoulaye Doucouré, but that last-ditch tackle in the second half, that dominance in the midfield, that shone throughout. He was wanting the ball, he was picking the ball up, he was moving with it, he was getting it, he was going, he was bulldozing through the midfield. There was a couple of chances where Spurs were messing about with the ball on the edge of their own box, and he was nicking it off them, he was taking it off them, he was playing it back, he was using his feet well, he was using the ball really, really well. We saw all of this in the first half. We saw how positive we were, we saw how much improved we were from last season, and we were confident going into that second half. We were really, really confident. We'll get into the live comments then before we go into talking about the second half performance. Loads of people in the live comments. Big thanks to everybody for watching. If you are enjoying, by the way, please do hit the like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe as well. Really, really do appreciate all of the support. Reece says, anyone want to put their reputation on the line and let us hear their songs for James? Eddie says, Colombia and Everton. Thank you very much, Eddie. Alex says, yes, Cam. Yes, Alex. Women says, it's okay. It's okay, Eddie. My Spanish is limited at best, but I get what you're saying. Rich is a goal scorer and a massive headache to defenders. You're spot on. Luke says, we were incredible, but we can't be too complacent. Need to focus on each match game by game. I will go to the top of the comments, by the way. I'm reading the most recent ones now. I will go to the top of the comments a little bit later on in the live stream, and we'll make sure we get through as many of them as possible. I'm not completely missing out the top comments. I will be getting involved with as many of them. I see everybody. I see Keeper Boy. I see Eugene. I see Hernandez. I see F, and we will be getting into them, of course. Where are we then? Toothy says, Cam, I'm guessing on you Spanish-speaking friends have a hard time keeping up with you. Sorry about that. If you do have a hard time, I do apologise. I do speak quite fast. I understand that. I'll try and tone it down. Eddie says, English so-so. I love my Everton. Thank you very much, Eddie. We love Everton too. Luke says, Alan was incredible. Everyone was. Harold says, Richarlison didn't even need to pass to Calvert-Lewin. He had to go for accuracy instead of going for unnecessary power. Yeah, he could. Again, like I said, that was one of the options to pass to Calvert-Lewin. Another option was to just simply put his foot on the ball and play it into the goal, which would have been a lot easier. But he rushed his decision. He panicked. And players do that ultimately at the end of the day. Philip says, damn, I'm late again. Hi, all right, mate. Don't worry, you've got loads more to go through. You haven't missed this whole live stream. Trudy says, I'm glad we don't have a manager who wins us all the time. We've got a world-class manager, mate. Lee says, it's just like watching Brazil. It certainly is. Eugene with a bold prediction for the game on Wednesday there. Wimmy says, I'm happy he did it in a game we won. Eddie says, Spanish so I love Everton. We do too, mate. Thank you very much, Eddie. Reece says, love it. Jab says, as long as Everton give it 100% every game, I don't care if Richie misses a chance because one day he'll score 3 in 3 slots. You're spot on. James says, why I love Richie so much. The boy has heart, doesn't stop signing. The boy is still young, crazy. It is absolutely spot on, mate. RKO and Pucker says, great channel, lad. Thank you very much, mate. Really appreciate it. Yours says, Coleman and Dean put in shifts and back midfield up at Sheet, Maid, Keed, and Mina. looking like they were on holiday. You're spot on. Eddie says, Richarlison, fellow muchos goles ese partido hubiera jugado por más diferencia. I hope I haven't absolutely butchered that. I've tried my best there, but I don't speak much Spanish. I do apologise. I will try and learn. But I'm assuming you mean, you know, he's the difference in goals, which I absolutely spot on. So he says Richarlison's finishing is usually very good. He needs to work on it. Insane, honestly, he figures it out. He will figure it out, mate. He's a fantastic, fantastic player. Karen says, hi from Colombia. Hi, mate. I hope you're doing well. He says, Richarlison's a great winger, but a questionable finisher. Fair point. You know, he had an off game yesterday. Usually he's very, very good finishing wide, but he had a bit of an off game, which, you know, you have to understand every now and then. But you know, he'll get back to his usual self, which is finishing those opportunities for breakfast. Okay, and Bugger says, can't believe that people are knocking Richie. That lad was out every ball in his work rate was awesome, spot on. Wayne says Richie was just a bit off, normally puts 1 or 2 of them in. Doesn't matter, we took 30 minutes to realise we had a midfield after the chances, just kept creating. If we create the chances, Richie will. Spot on. Bubba says, hey, come up, you're having a good day. And Abigail says, welcome, Eddie. We will get back into the live comments in just a second. I do promise you we won't be leaving them. Cam says, do you go away games? I'd try and go as many as possible, but unfortunately not as many as I would like. Tuthi says, don't worry about slowing it down, Cam. You're fine. If there's any confusion, we in the chat can clear it up. Thank you very much. Tuthi. And as says, we played incredible. I wasn't expecting it, but I can't wait for the game on Saturday. Me too. I can't wait for the game on Wednesday, mate. I absolutely cannot wait for the game on Wednesday. But anyway, like I said, we go into the first half, and you already knew from the first 5 or 10 minutes, you know, you could tell that having a midfield was, you know, it just made such a difference to this Everton team. We just looked so much better. We looked so much more composed. We had so much more energy. We looked like we wanted it more. We looked like we were much the better team. We were controlling the game. It was, you know, it was very easy for us at times in the game. And like I said, Spurs had a couple of chances, but they didn't do an awful lot with them. And we go into the second half and the confidence is oozing. Now you could see that the difference in not having those 3 midfield players was detrimental. We looked really, really strong. And you almost felt like, right, go out and kill this game off. Now Richie had a chance in the first half, which he should have done better. Dominic Calvert-Lewin had a chance in the first half as well, where a ball was played into him and it just hit the back of his heels. Quite unlucky, to be fair. Don't want to go too much in on Dom. Quite unlucky, but you know, if that had let run, that would have been a good chance. So you're sort of sitting there thinking, right, go out in the second half now and take one of those chances. Go and win the game. Go and score a goal. Go and score 2 goals. Go out there and say to Spurs, look, you've got to actively want to come back into this game. Don't give them an easy second half where they'll settle for a draw. Go out and score and say to them, you've got to come at us. And that's exactly what we done. Just before we go into it, Homie G says, I love your content. Thank you very much, Homie. Really appreciate it. And Wimmy says that you're doing a pre-show for Salford. Yes, we will be live 5:15 p.m. tomorrow with the live game preview to the Salford game. So don't forget to join us for that one. But that's exactly what happened. We went out there and we scored. We scored quite early on in the second half. But just before that, I mentioned it early on the stream, such a detrimental event in the game where Tottenham Hotspur, you know, Everton, like I said, were playing some nice football, playing it along the midfield, but we got caught. We got caught a couple of times in the game yesterday. This was one of them. We got caught. Tottenham picked the ball up. They played it through, and a through ball is played. I can't remember which Spurs player played it, but a through ball is played, and all of a sudden, Lucas Moura is 2-on-1 with the goalkeeper, really, because other than Abdoulaye Doucouré, it doesn't seem like there's going to be another Everton player that gets back. And if Abdoulaye Doucouré doesn't make this challenge, then Lucas Moura and I think it might be Harry Kane or Son are 2-on-1 with Jordan Pickford. And, you know, Jordan Pickford had a fantastic game, but you'd have had to favour the Spurs players to score that. And that would have been 1-0 to Spurs at the start of the second half, and that would have flipped the game on its head. No matter how well we played in the first half, no matter how dominant we were in the midfield. Santiago says you talk pretty fast. Sorry, mate, I'll try and slow it down a little bit. I hope you are enjoying. No matter how we played in that first half, no matter how dominant we were in that first half, that would have all been sort of made irrelevant. It would have been switched on its head if we'd have conceded. Not irrelevant, because we could have took that performance from the first half and took good confidence out of it and then got back into the game. But it would have been flipped on its head if Spurs had gone and got that goal, because it put them 1-0 up right at the start of the second half, and our confidence naturally would have sort of took a little bit of a hit. Players, 2 Spurs players, near enough 1-on-1 with Jordan Pickford. Abdoulaye Doucouré comes in. He's ran from pretty much the opposition box, and he makes a last-ditch tackle, which is absolutely world class. In fact, it reminded me, it wasn't the same really type of challenge, and it was nowhere near in the same position as Gareth Barry's on his Everton debut all those years ago against Chelsea. But the importance of the tackle reminded me very, very much of Gareth Barry's in that game. It was so vital that Abdoulaye Doucouré made that challenge. It was so vital that not only did he make the challenge, he got sufficient amount on the ball for it to go back to Jordan Pickford, because if he makes a challenge there and he only gets a little bit on the ball or a small amount, then he's on his arse. There's no Everton player, you know, within 5 or 10 yards, and the Spurs players are still going one-on-one with Jordan Pickford. Or he could cock it up by totally missing the ball and whipping the player up, and he gets sent off. He gets sent off because he was last man, in effect, in regards to an Everton player. So we get sent off, we go 10 men down, 55 minutes into the game, right into the second half. But he doesn't. He makes a fantastic, pitch-perfect, well-timed, well-executed challenge, and the ball rolls back to Jordan Pickford, and it's danger averted. And he got up, and he acted like that was just what he does. That's just his job. He got up, and he sort of went, yeah, you know, swipe it off, get back up again. It wasn't like, oh my God, what a dash this tackle I've made. It was like, oh, that was my job there. Shouldn't have let him get that far ahead of me. But, you know, I've made that challenge, get up, go again now. And it was danger averted, all of a sudden squashed like that. A situation where last season, you know, we'd have probably been looking at a goal conceded or a clear opportunity for the opposition, was danger averted like that, because of the fantastic challenge. I wish I could show the replays. I wish I could show the clips and the highlights on the channel. I really wish I could, because, again, I'm sure a lot of you seen it anyway, and a lot of you know what I'm talking about. But if you haven't, go and watch Abdoulaye Doucouré's challenge. If you missed it for whatever reason, or you didn't catch the game, go and watch Abdoulaye Doucouré's challenge. And I think it was around about the 55th minute, 0-0. It's an absolutely exceptional challenge to keep us in the game. And he gets up and he just sort of shakes it off, and we go again. And again, that was one of those situations where, listen, it is what you expect. It's what you expect from your centre midfield. It's exactly what, sorry, got a bit of hiccup there. It's exactly what you expect from your centre midfield players, to get up and to make those challenges and to get up and act like it's just their job. But it's something that we haven't seen in so long at Everton. Midfielders just making tackles like that and getting up and going, right, okay, on to the next one now. And he done it yesterday, and he just walked it off and made it look like it was nothing. It was an absolutely immense challenge, and shortly after that, we went on to score the goal, which ultimately won the game. Dospic says, listening to Cam is a good language exercise, Santiago. Just kidding, Cam. Joseph says, I love the way Richarlison was cutting in and shooting, getting working on them insane, and he'll be brilliant, spot on. Edmund says, hey bud, Toffee and Colombian. Toffee is a great combination. I wish Everton a successful season. Greetings from Bogota, Colombia. Thank you very much, mate. Really do appreciate that one. Whitney says, telling Cam to slow down is like telling Speedy Gonzalez to slow down. Dogby says, Doucouré's tackle was immense. You're spot on. James says, I like the way Cam talks. He keeps you interested. Good work, mate. Thank you very much, James. Really appreciate that. Eugene thinks Everton need to sign one more sign in the transfer window, potentially. Karen says, Pickford was fantastic. Super aggressive goalkeeper. Doesn't second guess his actions. In my book, Everton won thanks to him. If Tottenham would have scored first, it could have been fatal. Spot on. Santiago says, yeah, it was amazing. I agree, mate. Wimmy says, telling Cam to slow down is like telling lights to slow down. It's just like, nah. Jose says, greetings from Colombia. Thank you very much, mate. James is not only a great presser, but also a great shooter from outside. This allows him to attract defenders and open space for the deep pass to the forward. You're spot on, mate. You're absolutely spot on. Hernandez says, James' instant influence can be seen in this chat. Bienvenidos. The comments are going mad. A todos de Colombia, saludos desde los Estados Unidos. Spot on. Harold says, will Everton stay put or become a killer team with a Lozano or Zaha? Knowing Everton, they will stay put. A wrong decision that may cost Europe. I think we'll go out and sign somebody else, and being perfectly honest with you, mate. M. Herrera says, from California, thank you very much. Alejandro says, I thought Richarlison was brilliant. His work rate was top notch, and he was wrecking havoc on the left hand side, following James' pinpoint diagonals. If he improves his finishing, he could have had 3. You're spot on. You're absolutely spot on. I could not agree more with you. Alejandro. But anyway, back to the game. Listen, I really do appreciate every single person. 154 people currently watching live. That is absolutely mind-blowing. Big thanks to everybody for getting involved. Really do appreciate it. If you're not enjoying the live stream, please do hit the like button. It does only take a second. If you're new to the channel, please do subscribe. Massive welcome to all of our Colombian fans and South American fans in the live comments. Massive welcome to M. Herrera from California, as well as everybody for getting involved. Really do appreciate it. Like I said, if you haven't subscribed already, please do so. Really do appreciate it. But anyway, Doucouré makes that last ditch tackle, and all of a sudden it's a massive moment in the game. We continue to battle. We continue to win the midfield battle. And we get a free kick. Once again, Richarlison winning the free kick in a very dangerous area. Good opportunity for Luca Dean to swing the ball in. Luca Dean and Alan actually both stand over it, and I'm watching it thinking, is Alan gonna take this? But ultimately ends up Luca Dean. I'm not going to highlight the fact that Luca Dean moves the ball forward. Find me a football player that does not move the ball a few inches forward when taking a free kick. You will not find one that doesn't do that. Find me one that Sky Sports highlight. You'll only find Everton players that Sky Sports will highlight. But every single footballer in a position like that. Listen, Wolves done it against us a year ago, but they didn't just move it 4 yards forward. They moved it half the pitch forward and they scored from it directly. So I'm not even going to go too much into that because that's that's just a bollocks point that Spurs fans are trying to make to find themselves. To get it. Well, not all Spurs fans. A lot of Spurs fans have accepted that they were poor, but I have seen some Spurs fans trying to use that as a reason as to why they lost the game. But anyway, Luca Dean stands over it. It's an immense ball in, another absolutely world-class ball in by Luca Dean, and Dominic Calvert-Lewin with an world-class header. Listen, you can sit there and we can talk about how Dominic Calvert-Lewin needs to work on his one-on-one opportunities and he needs to work on being better, one-on-one with the goalkeeper and with the ball at his feet and when he's running at defenders. That's absolutely fair enough. You cannot sit there and tell me Dominic Calvert-Lewin needs to work on his aerial threat. He is one of the, if not the best players in world football. I'll say it now and I'll put my head out there. If anybody wants to come and disagree with me or have a go at me, I'll put my head out there. He is one of the best players in world football at doing that. In getting up when a ball comes into the box and heading it. And when that comes off his head, it's only going in one place. And that is the top right or left hand corner. And it's bulleting in there at a pace that Lewis Hamilton would be made up of if his car done that pace on the F1. It was an absolutely unbelievable header. A fantastic cross in, pinpoint cross, brilliant header, no stopping it. Dominic Calvert-Lewin gets on the score sheet, Everton are 1-0 up, and the confidence is again starting to ooze. And all of a sudden, the Everton sort of feeling kicks in of, oh shit, don't concede now and don't throw it away and don't let us, throw this game away because this is a massive, massive result. But the more and more in which we played after the goal, the more and more in which you're thinking, no, I don't think we are going to throw this away, We're genuinely miles better than these. I don't think there's a chance that we're going to throw this away. I think that we've got this comfortably in the bag. We're just a lot better than them. And the more the game went on, the less Spurs looked interested, which again was a little bit confusing from their point of view because you'd think that they would, be wanting to, you'd think that they'd be wanting to put as strong a performance in as possible. But the more the game went on, the less they looked interested in winning it, the less they looked interested in, in getting anything out of it, which was a little bit confusing, but there you go. But like I said, we continued to control the midfield battle. We scored the goal. We got back into shape. Defensively, we were still really, really good. Spurs still didn't really offer anything. They still didn't really push us. They still didn't really look like they wanted to get back into the game. We look confident. We look cool. We look calm. We look collected. And again, that was a lot to do with that midfield just continuing to put in the shift, continuing to break the play down, make those last-ditch tackles that last season weren't being made, but this season and yesterday looked so simple to the midfield players. It was thanks to James Rodriguez still playing that diagonal ball over to the left-hand side, making it look easy, playing it to Luca Dean, making it look easy. Abdoulaye Doucouré being in that midfield, breaking the play up, making it look easy. Andre Gomez, who had a fantastic game. I want to talk about Andre Gomez and Gylfi Sigurdsson a little bit later on in the live stream because I thought they were perfect, the pair of them yesterday. Very, very good, and I think that was large part because of the performances of the players next to him. But we were just brilliant, and like I said, we continued to create, and we had another couple of opportunities. James Rodriguez had one where he fires with his left foot just wide of the keeper's right hand side. Again, good opportunity on another day, probably swings in. But we were brilliant. We controlled the rest of the game. We saw the game out. We didn't do anything stupid defensively. We were very, very solid. Other than the odd couple of opportunities that Spurs had in the first half and a couple of times in the second half, we controlled the majority of the game. We looked really, really solid. We were still trying to get forward. We were still trying to create. We were still trying to get more goals on the score sheet. And we saw the game out and we won 1-0. And for me, it was an absolutely fantastic performance. Considering it was the first game of the season, I haven't seen Everton perform like that on an opening game of the season for years. And that's testament to the new signings. It's testament to the current Everton team. Your Dominic Calvert-Lewin, your Richarlison, your Andre Gomez's, your Michael Keane's, your Yerry Mina's, your Luca Dean's, your Jordan Pickfords, who all put in 10 out of 10 performances yesterday, even though I didn't give them 10 out of 10, you know what I mean? And it's testament to Carlo Ancelotti being one of the, if not the best managers in world football, and how he set his team up, and how he set his team up to not only only nullify Spurs, but to go out there and completely dominate the game, and that's exactly what we've done. If you're enjoying the live stream, by the way, so far, please do hit that like button. It does mean a massive amount to me. And that was it. The game, like I said, we sorted off to the end. Very solid performance. Very consoling in midfield. We win the game, and all of a sudden you're sitting there and you're thinking, Everton have failed to beat one of these sides in 8, 6, 7 years away from home, beat them on the opening game of the season in Carlo Ancelotti's first full season as an Everton manager. We failed to beat Spurs in a decade away from home, beat them opening game of the season in Carlo Ancelotti's first full season as the Everton manager. We were just brilliant yesterday. I literally cannot fault any Everton player. I cannot fault any Everton player on yesterday's performance. We were absolutely fantastic. And like I said, if we can put in that type of performance on Wednesday against Salford, albeit it'll probably be a different side that we'll see. I hope we see the likes of Anthony Gordon on Wednesday, because he wasn't on the bench and didn't feature in yesterday's game, which I think is probably just a little bit of a precaution to keep him fit for Wednesday's game. I hope we see Alex Iwobi in the team on Wednesday again, give him his opportunity. I hope we see Bernard in there. I'd like to see Branthwaite in there as well. We know now, of course, that Mason Holgate is due to spend about 8 to 12 weeks on the sidelines with his injury, so Jared Branthwaite may be called into action within the next few weeks anyway. If there's an injury to Michael Keane or Yerry Mina, touch wood there's not, but if there was, and like I said, we were fantastic, and I cannot wait for us to, for the Salford game on Wednesday, and I cannot wait for the West Brom game on Saturday. It has to be the same side. Those three new, Abdoulaye Doucouré, Allen and James Rodriguez have to start, and Andre Gomes, because he was brilliant as well, all have to start on Saturday, and I just cannot wait, because to say we went away to a side with a lot of quality and who have got a very experienced manager. Yes, they weren't brilliant yesterday, but a lot of quality with a very experienced manager. We were brilliant. We were absolutely brilliant, and we controlled the show. We absolutely, some Spurs fans and some pundits will tell you that they were poor, and it was because they were poor. It wasn't. It was because we were absolutely fantastic. Liam says, wish I could stay for the whole show, but got to take the lad to footy. Thanks for the content again, Cam. Brilliant, lad. Thank you very much, mate. Really do appreciate it. Tuti says, I watch Alan playing. I think I want another one of him. He's immense, mate. He is absolutely world class. William says, we still have Delph and Besic and Gabaman coming back to the. I imagine they will be back up. Hopefully Gabaman as Delph. It's garbage, but Besic maybe till Gabaman's back potentially. And Dosby says, any news on whether we will send Branthwaite or Lewis Gibson out on loan? I don't think we'll send Branthwaite out now because of the injury to Mason Holgate, unless we bring in another centre half, but who knows, we'll have to wait and see. But anyway, like I said, a fantastic performance. We are going to get into the live comments in just a second, and I'll go from the top, and I'll get involved with as many of them as possible. Listen, a big thanks to everybody for getting involved. We've had loads of comments today, nearly 200 people watching, 3 watchers away from 200. So if you could share the live stream, if you could get as many people in here as possible, it would mean a massive amount to me. If you could leave a like on the live stream, it would mean a great deal to me. If we can get to 75, we're on 57 now before the end of the stream, it would mean a massive amount to me. If you can subscribe as well, that would be greatly appreciated. But one player I want to pick out in particular, I do want to talk about Andre Gomes and Ancelotti Sigurdsson before we end the stream, but one player I want to pick out in particular prior to those two is Jordan Pickford. Again, briefly mentioned him at the start of the live stream. Jordan Pickford had I think it's fair to say, an inconsistent season last season, a season in which a lot of Evertonians weren't very happy with the majority of his performances, and that was warranted. A large part of the season, that was warranted. He wasn't great. He struggled a large part of the season. There was times when he was laughing when he shouldn't have been laughing. His mentality was called into question, and his concentration was massively called into question. But what seems to have happened over the pre-season and during the training over the last couple of weeks or so is Carlo Ancelotti seems to have really got a grip on Jordan Pickford and said to him, listen, all of this laughing, all of this lapses in concentration, all of this bullshit, it stops now. It stops now, and you go out there and you do your job. And if you've got nothing to do, you don't look at the crowd, even though there's no crowd, or you don't look for something to laugh at, or you don't look for something to, take the piss out of. You just sit there, you concentrate, and you find yourself that if you've got nothing to do in that game, you think, lucky me, I've got nothing to do here. And for large parts in that game yesterday, Jordan Pickford didn't have a lot to do because the midfield was unbelievable. Alan was playing that sort of midfield role where he was like another defender, and the defence was really solid as well. So Jordan Pickford didn't have an awful lot to do, but what he had to do, he done perfectly well, and he did not put a foot wrong yesterday. He didn't. He was brilliant for me, absolutely brilliant. And I'll be Jordan Pickford's biggest critic. I'll sit here and I'll go into Jordan Pickford and I'll give him what I'm feeling if he puts in a poor performance, or if his attitude is called into question, or if he's lacks in concentration, or if he's making stupid mistakes. I'll sit here and I'll call him out on it. But I will also sit here and talk about, when he's brilliant, I'll talk about how brilliant he was, and he was fantastic yesterday. He was absolutely brilliant, from the save for the Dele Alli opportunity, which again was a massive opportunity in the game. Perfect save, brilliant save. The Matt Doherty save was probably one of the best saves you'll see in a long time, considering the area Matt Doherty was in. The fact he was hitting it coming down, so we had a lot of momentum on the ball, and the fact that Jordan Pickford stuck a leg out and managed to get it out. It was a fantastic save. And not only that, we know he's a good shot stopper. We know he's good at getting down. We know he's good at making those saves. It's not that Jordan Pickford needs to work on. It was just concentration in other areas. It was coming out and picking the ball up and demanding his area when he needed to, and when he needed to punch it. But when he could catch it. You don't need to come out and punch it when you can put your hands on it. It was those things that Jordan Pickford needed to, and probably still does, because it was only one game, and again, I'm not getting too ahead of myself. It was only one game, and probably does still need to improve on going forward. But it was those things that he seemed to have improved on yesterday. He was coming out, he was demanding his area, he was picking the ball up when he needed to, he was punching it when he needed to, he was getting clear, he was playing the ball out, he was absolutely evading pressure constantly. He was just fantastic yesterday. He put in an absolute brilliant performance, and you know what? I said it at multiple times. We've done loads of transfer shows over the summer and over the period of football suspension, when football was suspended and the lockdown, etc. And we've done a lot of shows, and I spoke about how Jordan Pickford wasn't going to be the priority for Everton to sell this season. He wasn't going to be the priority for Everton to get rid of, and I said this could be a massive season for Jordan Pickford, because ultimately he's in a position where he's quite lucky. He's not a player that we should be looking at urgently to get rid of, because prior to signing Alan, James Rodriguez and Adelaide Doucouré, we needed to focus on that midfield as a matter of urgency, because it was dreadful. Still, even with the new midfield and with the midfield being a lot better, you've still got winger, which you'd probably look at and think we could do it looking at there and strengthening there. You've still got full-backs, which you'd look at and you think we could probably do it strengthening there as well. Jordan Pickford is probably 5th or 6th in the line where you'd look at and you think, okay, let's sell the goalkeeper and replace him now and bring somebody in. But luckily for Jordan Pickford, in being quite that far down the line, he is automatically being given another opportunity for at least the first half of this season to prove himself. And if he can put in performances like that week in, week out, he'll be in this team going forward, and there'll be no question about his future, because he was brilliant. He was calm, he was cool, he was collected. He didn't look like he wanted all the attention to be on him. He didn't look like he was interested when the ball was nowhere near him. It was a top professional performance by Jordan Pickford. And the big thing for Jordan Pickford is consistency. And this is one thing that I'm going to make this point absolutely clear now, so if he has a stinker next week, people don't go, oh, you said he was boss last week and you said he's the next best thing. One point I'm going to make absolutely evidently clear now is that Jordan Pickford needs to be consistent this season. Jordan Pickford had fantastic games last season. He made some fantastic saves and he kept us in a lot of games last season, but he also had some atrocious games where he cost us them. One thing that he was lacking last season was that consistency. One thing he needs to make sure he has this season, absolutely needs to make sure he has, is consistency and being able to put in those type of performances, 7, 8 out of 10 every single week. And if he can do that, then he's got no problem for me in his future. He was brilliant yesterday, and I thought he deserved a special mention because I thought he was fantastic. If you're enjoying the live stream, by the way, please do hit the like button. It does only take a second. We're going to get into the live comments now. We'll go straight to the top because it's only fair. A lot of people got in really early. Big thanks to everybody in the live comments. Like I said, if you're watching live, nearly 250 people watching, which is absolutely mind-blowing. Those numbers are absolutely fantastic. So big thanks to everybody for watching. Like I said, if you're new, don't forget to subscribe, leave the stream a like, share the stream. Let's get as many people in here as possible. Jem says Defo Pickford was on his game yesterday, some great saves there, really happy for him, spot on. James says that's what Pickford can do, always had his back. Glad he's hopefully showing it now. Jem says, yeah man, if you're watching, hit the thumbs up, thank you very much. Wayne says Pickford needs to have a word with Big Nev. If he ain't picked his brains, it says a lot about Jordan. I'm sure he has. Jem says, alright Cam, how good were the lads yesterday? I'm made up, they were great too, man. Thank you very much, Gem. I'm not too bad. Yeah, they were brilliant. Unknown says like and subscribe, guys. Thank you very much. Philip says Pickford can save us millions. Keep it up, Jordan. And Unknown says Pickford keep us in the game. Them saves were class. They were. Anyway, let's get to the top of the live stream now. Spotbot says back. Thanks. Thank you very much. Let's get to the top of the comments because I realise a lot of people have put comments in and I don't want to miss out a whole load of comments because I understand that a lot of people take time out of the day. So big thank you to everybody. Uden says Allen is a defender's dream. That is from Michael Keane, of course. We haven't finished the live stream. I do want to go into talking about Andre Gomez, Gylfi Sigurdsson in just a moment, by the way. Uden says Bailey wants Premier League move. I seen a little article about that just before, about Leon Bailey and potentially wanting to move to the Premier League. I don't know if Everton are involved in that, but I'll definitely check up on that after the live stream. It's something that I am interested in. He's a good player. He's a good player. Union says Everton extends sponsorship deal as part of lucrative commercial plans. Yes, that is the sponsorship with the Italian meat company. I'm just gonna read the name out because I don't want to butcher it and I don't want to make a fool of myself. That is the partnership with Italian meat company Fratelli Beretta, who are the Italian food giants who sponsor the Everton Academy shirt. So if you're not aware of them, it's because they don't sponsor the first team shirts. Of course, that is Kazoo. They sponsor the Academy shirts. Keepy Boy says, hi mate, hi, how you doing? There's Stewie's donation, thank you very much, Stewie. Keepy Boy says, how is everyone? I'm not too bad. He says, Everton are top 6 contenders, definitely. He also says, hi Cameron, I agree mate, I agree. The Multipurpose channel says, hi, come on you Blues. Keepy Boy says, great win against Spurs for us, you're spot on. He says, afternoon, how good does it feel to have James and Don Carlo? It feels absolutely unbelievable, Reece mate. Evan says, alright Cam, alright mate, hope you're doing well Evan, or Ethan, sorry. James says, what a performance. Cam looked a total different team. He certainly did, mate. An absolutely fantastic performance yesterday. And Ander says, hello Cam, it was amazing to watch us just absolutely dominate the team in every aspect of the game. Hope you're well, mate. It was, mate. It was brilliant. It was something that we haven't seen from Everton in a long time. And we saw it yesterday. We just completely dominated that game. It was a perfect performance in a lot of ways. And I'm absolutely over the moon. And I'm not too bad, mate. I hope you're doing well. Wayne says, Cam lad, how's everyone doing? I was ambitious with the scores, but I said Tottenham weren't ready. There you go. They weren't ready. You were spot on. Frankie says, up the fucking toffees. You're spot on, Frankie. Toothy says, Brands and Carlo's teams should be looking for the next Allen. Brands shouldn't get too comfortable. Well, again, I'm sure Brands and Ancelotti have got plans to look for the next, player of a younger age who comes in and who can do that job. But we've only just signed Alan, haven't we? We've only just signed Alan. We've only just signed James. We've only just signed Decore. So I don't think that we need to be worrying about that too much at the moment. Because like we said, those players have only just come in and they've got a lot of years ahead of them at this football club for me. Frank says, banging performance, you're spot on. Claire says, Sky's Bundits were proper. Gutted, we upset a Glamour 6 side. Redknapp had nothing good to say about us. He just moaned about Spurs for the night. I seen that Sky Sports went to Jamie Redknapp after the game yesterday and asked him what he thought about the Everton performance, and he said, well, firstly, I think the free kick was taking a couple of yards in front. Piss off, lad. Go and make yourself a cup of tea. Sit down. Do yourself a favour and just stop talking absolute bollocks. Spurs were awful yesterday, but we were absolutely unbelievable. And if it wasn't a Dominic Calvert-Lewin world-class header from a free kick that was taken half a yard in front of where it was meant to be taken, it'd have been a Dominic Calvert-Lewin world-class header from another situation. So don't worry about it. We were brilliant yesterday. Again, you won't. If that was City winning in that fashion, or if that was them over the park winning in that fashion, or if that was Chelsea, or if that was reversed and Spurs won in that fashion against us, there wouldn't have been any conversation about the free kick or where it was taken or whatever. There wouldn't have been any of that, mate. Wayne says, buzzing mate, we need to start well as our back end fixtures are tough as we play all the top teams away in the second half of the season. You're spot on, mate, you're spot on. Ian says, to the tune of Hey Mundo, a boy came from Napoli for a change of scenery, swapped his pizza for fish and chips. Now we sing a song that goes like, hey Carlo Italiano. Hey, that's amazing. That is absolutely amazing, mate. I love that. I absolutely love that. Big shout out to everybody in the live comments. Really do appreciate all your support. Big shout out to all of our Colombian friends and South American friends that are in the live comments getting involved. Really do appreciate it. If you're all enjoying the live stream, please do hit the like button. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel as well. Wayne says, salute them. Our passing was superb. It was our overall play was just much better than anything we've seen for a long time. The passing, the intensity, the tackling, the ability on the ball, the winning the ball back and playing it round players, the skill, everything was just miles better than anything we've seen for a long time. Wayne says top 4. Let's see, mate, let's see. Reece says, have you seen Sky's new intro? I have. I tried not to watch it too many times last night, mate, when the game was on. It's very cringy. Underground says, might win a domestic cup if we play like this. Hopefully, mate, hopefully. James says, I even watched the game again, buzzing, mate. I'm glad my man Pickford played well and knew he could do it. I hope this team continues. You're spot on, mate, me too. What a performance it was by Jordan. Wimmy says, was his quality in question, more his fitness and keeping him fit and uninjured? Thought Gomez was a lot better and not getting much credit, but you saw when Gylfi and Davis come on, we started to look shaky. Toothy says, Andre Gomez looked class. Yeah, I want to talk about Gomez and Sigurdsson in a moment. Gomez more so because he obviously played the majority of the game. I think he looked better than Sigurdsson, but I will talk about both of them before we finish up. Underground says Madao James was 12 million while Sigurdsson was 50 million. Ancelotti knows how to spend, certainly does. Remy says, but a great start. I like that. Decore recognised the danger down the right and just slipped in and covered Coleman and eradicated the problem. You're spot on, mate, you're spot on. Frankie says, up the fucking toffees, what a performance. Can't fault anyone, absolutely amazing. Toothy says, these are our standards now. You're spot on. Underground says, we've got a good run now to Liverpool. Do them as well, mate. Play like that and we'll do them. You know, they defensively the other day, they were fucking shite, mate. John says, you think getting Alan Hammers and Decore in the hotel a week before they signed was a class move to get them settled in? I think having Alan, Abdoulaye Decore and James Rodriguez training with the team and at Finch Farm and getting to know the players before they'd been announced was a fantastic move, because ultimately, look, for us as fans, the announcement is the big thing, and you always say, you know, a player isn't officially signed to the football club until they're announced, and that's fair enough, but if the club ultimately know that these players are going to be signed, then why not get them in the training ground? Why not get them training? Why not get them meeting the new teammates? Why not get them having dinner with the management staff 3 or 4 or 5 days before they've officially been announced? Because if you know and you're confident that that deal is going to go through, get all that done so they're prepared for the first game of the season. Don't wait until, don't lock them up in a hotel room and say, right, well, we'll do the dinners and we'll do the training once we've officially announced it. No, get them in the training ground, get them training. I believe Decore was training a few days before he was officially signed. James Rodriguez, similarly, potentially Allen as well. They were all definitely having meals with the rest of the team and integrating with the rest of the team before they'd been announced. So I think it's a fantastic move, you're right, mate. Wayne says, we'll play reserve 11 against Salford. Should still have enough now to beat Neville's club. James is refreshing Cam. Seeing Everton controlling games was really nice to see. It certainly was, mate. Wayne says Holgate out for 8 weeks. Thought he stubbed his toe. Yeah, it's not a great one with Holgate. Of course, not a great situation. He does look to be out for a little bit longer than what we originally expected. Toothy says, opinions on João Virginia on the bench instead of Lazel. I think Lazel's on his way out, if I'm being honest with you, mate. That's my opinion. I think Lazel's on his way out of the club. Eugene says, keen on my new Everton teammate is defender's dream. That's about Alan. Claire says, put that in your pipe, Tim Sherwood. You're spot on. Wayme says, see Holgate's looking like it's at least 2 months. That's a bit disappointing. Still think we need a right back with an engine. Me too. Eugene says, Iwobi should start looking for another club. That's from an article. That's from somebody speaking to Iwobi from experience. That article was made it sound like that come from Everton, but it wasn't. Evertonian Luke says, don't want to be getting ahead of ourselves yet. We had a good game, but it's still just the first game of the season. Let's face it, it's Everton and it's still early days. Fair enough, mate, and you're spot on. Wayme says, we have a good cut run. I imagine Moyes and Gordon and the like will get a good run out. Spot on, me too. Joel says, Alan was man of the match for me. Ian says, played the bench against Salford. James says, I know people want a cup, but for me, Europe is the main aim, and what a header, Cam. You're spot on, you're spot on. Ian says, win the FA Cup and you automatically qualify for Europe. Skid Raider says, I love watching Rodriguez play. Me too. And Cam says, I'm still buzzing. What a performance. We just need to put in consistency. No point beating Spurs away than drawing against West Brom. We do. We need to go out and show against West Brom that we can put in equally as good, if not, a better performance, and show how good we can be, because we were absolutely fantastic. And Ander said 257 viewers. Soon you won't be able to leave your house because you're too famous. Thank you very much. Listen, if we could get the likes up, it would mean a massive amount to me. 79, honestly, that's an unbelievable number. I really do appreciate it. We're not done yet. I do want to talk about Andre Gomez and Gylfi Sigurdsson, and then we will get into the live comments again before we finish up. Really do appreciate all the support. There's loads of comments today, absolutely loads of comments. Honestly, it means an absolute massive amount to me. I really do appreciate each and every one of you. Like I said, if you're new to the channel, don't forget to subscribe. Big thanks to everybody for getting involved in the live comments. FGA Football says, I disagree. Let's get carried away, for fuck's sake. After 8 years not winning, can we get carried away? Yeah, I'm getting carried away, mate. I'm getting carried away. Eugene says, did you see Ames singing? I did. Thought it was a brilliant singing performance. Anyway, before I end the stream, I do want to talk about 2 players in particular, Andre Gomez and Gylfi Sigurdsson. I thought they both done really well yesterday. More so Andre Gomez. Started the game. Obviously, there was a lot of discussion around Andre Gomez before this game and towards the back end of last season about how he hadn't looked as good since, Idrissa Gana Gueye had left the football club, and he had looked a little bit shaky at times, and since he returned from his injury, he hadn't looked as good. You know what? I thought Andre Gomes was fantastic yesterday. I thought he was absolutely fantastic. He stepped in to that centre midfield role. He was playing next to, obviously, Abdoulaye Doucouré and Allen, two debutants, and I thought he was brilliant. I thought he was absolutely brilliant. He stepped forward. His press was really, really high. That's one thing I was surprised with Andre Gomes yesterday. He was pressing really, really high up the pitch. He was getting up there, and he was pressing to the point where you sort of think, what? That's a fantastic, attribute for a centre midfielder. On the ball, brilliant as well. Couldn't fault him on the ball. Don't think he played a bad pass. Was getting the ball, was confident, was using his feet. Very, very good feet, Andre Gomes. Very, very quick feet. Pulling the ball, dragging the ball back. Passing it off. Like I said, that very, very high press that he was playing, which was fantastic. And I just thought he was overall a lot better. And that's one thing that we've come to see with Andre Gomes since his time at Everton, is that when the players around him are playing better, he tends to up his performance and he tends to play a lot better. And we seen that yesterday. We seen him up his performance based on the performances of those around him, and I thought he was brilliant yesterday. And a special shout out goes to him, because look, a lot of the attention yesterday and a lot of the talk yesterday was on Abdoulaye Doucouré and Allen and James Rodriguez, and rightly so, because it was their debuts and they were all absolutely perfect. But I think a lot of credit goes to Andre Gomes for his performance. I thought he was brilliant in that midfield, looked really composed, best game in an Everton shirt in quite some time in my opinion, and just looked really, really solid. And Gylfi Sigurdsson as well, look, Gylfi Sigurdsson stepped in and come off the bench, of course. Okay, he looked a little bit shaky in the first 5 or 10 minutes of him coming off the bench, but ultimately he done well. He got himself involved, he stuck a tackle in, he threw his body in the way, and again, he upped his performance. His performance looked a lot better playing next to Abdoulaye Doucouré, James Rodriguez went off, didn't he? And Allen and Andre Gomes, he looked a lot better playing next to players with confidence. So I thought both deserved a special shout out yesterday, because I thought they both looked significantly better than they have done. Robust says, let's reach 3k if we could. That's the next goal. 3,000 subscribers would mean a massive amount to me. Wayne says, can you give this young blue a sub? Archie RKO, really appreciate it. Cam and Blues. Yeah, go and sub to Archie RKO. He's in the live comments before, if you can find them. Really, really do appreciate that. Jem says, me too. We are the mighty Blues. We certainly are. FJ says, Gomes was good, but first off, he's playing too high. He's not fast enough to press. Fair enough. FJ also said he controls the ball so well, but doesn't have the intensity like Allen or Doucouré. Fair point, but I agree. Jem says Gomes wasn't his fucking boss. He's now got the same quality around him as himself. He must be made up. Spot on, Jem. And Wayne says, think Gomes is still recovering, getting back to match fitness. He was good yesterday, making good presses, holding the ball up with James. And James says Gomes looked tired. Big injury, glad he done well yesterday. Yeah, he was fantastic. Look, before I end the stream, I want to say a big thanks for all of the support. Of course, really, really do appreciate it. So many comments. I will briefly get into the live comments in just a second before we finish up, but I want to say a massive thank you. Dosbig says, soon you will have to give your match reviews in Spanish, Cam. I'll have to start learning, won't I? Your boy says, just wants to say well done to you, mate, here since day one. Crazy to see how much you've gone. Thank you very much, your boy. I know you've been around for a long time. I really, really do appreciate it, honestly. It means a massive amount to me. So thank you very much for sticking around, and thank you very much for the support. The support on today's live stream, 272 people currently watching. It's unbelievable. 84 likes. It's just, I can't fathom it. I'd like to say I'm speechless, but you'll all say you're not speechless because you're still talking. But I really do feel speechless. The love and the support means so much to me. Honestly, it's so appreciated. A big thanks to everybody for the live comments. Like I said, I'm sorry I couldn't get through every single comment, but it's very tough with doing that and talking about the game. But a big thanks to everybody in the live comments, of course, as per usual. Listen, while there's 270 odd people in, if you're interested in joining us again tomorrow, we'll be live 5:15 PM talking about the Salford City game. It'll be the live game preview to our Carabao Cup second round fixture against Salford City on Wednesday. We will be live 5:15 PM tomorrow night, so join us for that one. We'll be giving a predicted start 11. We'll be talking about the game. We'll be talking about who starts, who's in there, whether any of the new players start as well. So if you're interested in joining us 5:15 PM live on the channel tomorrow, if you're new to the channel and you haven't already, please do hit that subscribe button. It does only take a second. Big thanks for all of the support as well. But yeah, what a win that was. What an absolutely fantastic win that was for Everton Football Club yesterday. All three debutants, Abdoulaye Doucouré, James Rodriguez, Allen, all absolutely perfect performances. And the players that, were at the club, and have been at the club for quite some time. Richarlison, brilliant performance, absolutely brilliant performance. lost for words now. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, what a header. Absolutely perfect header. And again, another fantastic performance by Dominic Calvert-Lewin. Luca Dean, exceptional. Seamus Coleman, legend, world-class performance by Seamus Coleman. Jordan Pickford, unbelievable, brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. You know, the back line, Yerry Mina, Michael Keane, solid. Andre Gomez, fantastic. You know, even Gylfi Sigurdsson, when he come on, brilliant. Every single player in an Everton shirt not only put in a shift yesterday, but showed real class and real quality. And we definitely deserved to win that game. And it was a fantastic performance. And it just shows what bringing in, you know, a couple of players with class can do to your team. It can completely change the dynamics of the team. Abdoulaye Doucouré desperately needed a player like him in the midfield for a long time. He stepped in, he showed it yesterday. Allen needed a player with that grit, that determination, that passion, that fight. He showed that yesterday. And James Rodriguez, we needed a player with the quality of James Rodriguez, and he showed that yesterday. We haven't had a player with that much technical ability on the ball in years, and all three new signings were brilliant yesterday, and everybody else, like I said, I didn't just want to talk loads about the new signings today because it's important that we recognise that Richarlison had a fantastic game, despite the fact he wasn't on the score sheet, despite the fact he didn't score. Richarlison had a fantastic game. Dominic Calvert-Lewin, brilliant. Luca Dean, fantastic. Andre Gomez, brilliant. Seamus Coleman, brilliant. Jordan Pickford, unbelievable. It's important that we credit every single Everton player. And Carlo Ancelotti, what a man Carlo Ancelotti is. You know what? I'm debating getting a tattoo of Carlo Ancelotti because I love the man that much. I'm not going to do it yet because I don't want to jinx it, but I just think he's absolutely unbelievable. What a man. Set the team up perfectly yesterday to go out and to win that game of football convincingly and to dominate it, and that's exactly what we've done. FGA says the team wouldn't do well or win without the new three. It's a very good point. FGA also says Coleman was great, close to man of the match for me, but our new midfield has to take it. You're spot on. Will says, who will finish above Arsenal or Tottenham? Everton. FGA says, can try and bring someone else in to help you grow your channel. We're definitely looking at doing that, and we're open to that as well. It's just about, you know, the right person and schedules and stuff like that. But thank you very much for the suggestion. James says, nice one, Cam. Thanks, mate. Thank you very much, James. Phil says, later, guys. Rim says, take care, guys. See you tomorrow. Thank you very much. Jem says, cheers, Cam. Take care, mate. Bye. All the same as. Take care. Philip says, vamos, Cam. Vamos, mate. FJ says, we'll spank West Brom. I hope so, mate. James says, tough season for him and all of us, onwards and upwards. You're spot on. Wayne says, nice one, Cam. You're a legend. Thank you very much, Wayne. FJ says, cheers, pal. Come on, you Blues. James says, real class. You're spot on there, mate. You're spot on, mate. You're absolutely spot on. Wayne says, how many subs for an Ancelotti tattoo? Bloody hell. A lot of subs. Anyway, I'm going to finish it up there. Nearly 300 people watching. A big thanks for everybody. 90 likes. If you can get it to 100, it would mean a massive amount to me. But to be honest, 90 is more than enough. Absolutely more than enough. And I don't want to sound greedy and I don't want to ask for too much. A big thanks to each and everybody that's got involved in the live stream today. Whether you've watched the live stream, whether you've joined at any point, whether you've left a like, whether you've left a comment, whether you're in the live comments, whether you've subscribed. A big thank you to each and every one of you for getting involved. It means a massive amount to me. Big thanks to everybody for getting involved in the live comments. Like I said, I'm sorry I couldn't go through all of the comments, but I really do appreciate each and every one of you. To join us tomorrow, 5:15 p.m. For the live game preview to the game against Salford City. We'll be in the live comments again. We'll be getting involved with as many of them as possible as well. So don't forget to join us there. Really do appreciate everybody. All your support is a massively appreciated. Honestly, I really do appreciate it. Honestly, I'm just flicking through the live comments now, and it's absolutely, it's so heartwarming and so fantastic to see so many people getting involved with me and so many people wanting to listen and wanting to watch me ramble on about Everton. It honestly means so much. So thank you all very much. I'm going to go before I end up getting dead emotional and dead weird. So big thanks to everybody for watching. Like I said, we will be live 5:15 p.m. tomorrow with the live game preview to the game against Salford City on Wednesday. So don't forget to join us for that one. If you're watching as a YouTube video, leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. Really do appreciate all of the support. I'll try and get involved with as many of them as possible. Big thanks to everybody for watching live. The multi-purpose channel says, bye mate, have a great day. Thank you very much, mate. You too. Dr. says, let's hope we can keep up the consistency in our performances for a long time. Let's hope so, mate. The multi-purpose channel says, come on you Blues. Certainly. Will says, I meant who will finish higher in the table, Arsenal. Oh, sorry mate. Arsenal, I'm going to say. Out of those two. Carl says, always enjoy your channel, Cam. Thank you very much, Carl. Really appreciate it. Really appreciate your support over the last few weeks as well. I know you've chipped in with donations and stuff, so big thanks to you. Eden says, see you about the toffees and see you tomorrow evening at 5:15. Thank you very much. Armin says, you scouser. Thank you very much, Armin. Multiplayer says, come on, you Blues. Nanda says, get a quote for Ancelotti tattoo and we'll get a GoFundMe for it all. The best. We'll have to see. We'll have to see, mate. And Multiplayer says, bye, mate. Thank you all very, very much. Really do appreciate it. I'm going to go and enjoy my evening. I hope you all enjoy your evening as well, whatever you are doing. Like I said, if you're interested in joining us tomorrow, please do 5:15 PM on the channel. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter as well, at MightyBluesYT, for all of the latest Everton news and information. Big thanks for watching. Massive thanks for all your support. It means a massive amount to me. Big thanks to everybody in the live comments. Please leave a like if you've enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. And we'll see you soon on The Mighty Blues.